Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the 7NWA channel. Joining me for what we've called the Hangover, which is a new thing that I'll do. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that, Steve. A new thing that we're going to do, which is basically just a sort of a reaction the next morning to the match before. Is Steve Jones. Steve, I mean, the magnitude of the game was absolutely incredible, wasn't it? It was, I think we all felt it. Can't remember ever feeling like that before a game, and we've had some big ones. Just looking at the team lineup, was it pretty much the team that you expected?
Pretty well. That was the lineup that I expected it to be. I think that the only possibility is that you could have said one of Bobby or maybe Diaz for Diogo, but Diogo scores goals, doesn't he? You can't leave him out. He really knows how to score a goal.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think there was any surprises. The midfield was as I thought. The defence was as I thought. It was just that thing, I suppose. Just looking at the first half, that first goal, it doesn't make comfortable viewing back. I saw it again this morning, and we've gone to sleep, and in particular, Fab De Bruyne just breezes past Fab. It was. I mean, obviously they get a big slice of luck, don't they, with the goal? Because it's a big deflection. I think it would have gone wide, goalkeeper right, I think, had it not taken a deflection. But do you think we suffered from a little bit of complacency, or we just didn't start well, did we?
I don't think it was the type of game we were expecting. Really, certain wasn't the type of game I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a lot more cagey than it was. Yeah. I thought it was maybe going to be a bit more of a boring game. I mean, the neutrals would have loved it. I had an Arsenal supporting mate of mine who was texting me going, "What a game! What a game!" And I didn't respond to him because I didn't want to get. I wanted a more cagey game, I suppose. I mean, what they did do, Gav, they pressed the hell out of us. They really pressed, and I think it caught us a little bit off guard, and it was leading to us making errors that we normally wouldn't make. We were just a bit surprised by it. Look, the goal was a horrible deflection. It was just awful. It was just, but it's one of those things that you sometimes could concede. It was a little bit unlucky for us, but generally we were making lots and lots of unforced errors. At the start, possibly because we were playing out from the back, and because they were pressing us so much, we just didn't have time on the ball. I mean, the other thing is that they were getting behind us quite a bit during that first half. They really were getting behind us. And yes, we do play a high line. It's the way that we play. Most of the time, it works. But we were getting a little bit caught out on it, I guess. You've got to say, you mentioned Fab. Yeah, it was the Fab versus De Bruyne sort of contest, really, wasn't it? The first thing that you've got to say about De Bruyne, he's amazing.
Yeah. He
is some footballer. I mean, hey, what would we give to have him in our side? He is really, truly amazing. And in fairness, he won that battle with Fab yesterday.
I think probably because I think so highly of Fab. I'm looking for reasons why Fab was off his game. Obviously, he had that little concussion scare at the back end of the Benfica game. He wondering whether they've kept that quiet, and I mean, I'm looking for conspiracy theories here, but they've kept it quiet, and he maybe wasn't fully on. But he, for him to be on that, particularly on that first goal. The guy just, we're walking when they take the free kick, number one. It's not just Fab, but we're walking. Then we react, which is a bit too late. Then we've actually got a chance of stopping De Bruyne, and he just breezes past Fab. And it was just so unlike Fab, you know what I mean? I suppose that's the thing. And it was a theme throughout the game. Like, there's a chance for them in the last minute where De Bruyne just breezes past Fab again. And, like you say, sometimes you have to just look at it and go, well, that's just really good play by the player.
Yeah, and I think you have, Gav, because in this day and age, let's be absolutely clear on this. If there was any question of any lingering concussion, Fab wouldn't have been in the side.
Yeah,
not in this day and age, not with the medics and the way that things are. So you've got to say that Fab had fully recovered from it.
We respond pretty much straight away, Steve, with the Jota goal, and I just want to break it down, because it was a thing of absolute beauty. You've got Thiago spreading it over to the right-hand side, then the ball comes back to the left, and Robbo just clips a really beautiful little ball, and it's not a hopeful ball. It feels like a very, very good pass, which ends up with Trent, and Trent plays it. I mean, I didn't realise until I saw it back again this morning how good that little ball back from Trent was. He's picked Jota out perfectly. A little bit fortunate with the finish, but he scores at the end of the day. How did you see it?
I think you're right. You can break that down, because it wasn't just the final pass that led to that goal. The first thing was Thiago's cross pass to Trent was a thing of absolute beauty.
Yeah,
it really was a thing of beauty. But then there was almost a second phase of play that came into it, I suppose, really. And then you've got Robbo picking the ball up there on that side, putting that ball over to Trent, who got to the back. Right, and just sort of a leisurely little tap into Diogo. You've got to say that Edison really maybe should have done better.
Yeah,
we'd have been disappointed. Ali would have been disappointed to have conceded that, but who cares? It was really important.
Yeah, something else I wanted to bring up. I know on my agenda it's free kicks next, but the nervousness at the back was so uncharacteristic for us. And I saw Van Dijk looking like he was wobbling a little bit, which is unheard of. Matip certainly, Trent's first half was aside of the goal, which obviously that's what one of the jobs he's there for. So, you give him that, but he gave the ball away quite a lot. And you alluded to that, unforced errors. Even Ali was, there was a few little nervy moments with Ali where he was having one of his little sort of things where he thinks he's an outfield player again, which is fine. I've got no problem with that, because that's who he is. But in such a big game, it wasn't welcome while you were watching it, to be fair. What did you put that nervousness down to, Steve?
I don't know. Maybe it was the occasion. I mean, look, I texted my daughter before the game and said, "How are you?" And we swapped a couple of texts, and I said, this feels like a build-up to a Champions League final.
Yeah.
And that's how it felt. The game felt that important. And, the press had been going on about it all week as a title decider. I don't think it's a title decider, but we'll come on to that, no doubt. But there was an element of nervousness there. I think that I mentioned their pressing, particularly early doors. Their pressing did lead us to make those errors. I mean, if you think to their second goal, the Jesus goal, that started with, I think, an offside that we got. The Ali took the free kick for offside and then sort of did a little chip over the top and immediately put us back under pressure.
Right.
That's how it started, and that was indicative of the way I think that we were playing yesterday, and the fact that their pressing was really giving us a few problems.
I think you're right. I suppose the spirit around my question is what's wrong with us. Whereas we're so quick to do that thing where we go, well, it was down to us because that we would never. You almost don't want to admit that it's because of City's pressing, because that would mean that you have to admit that they're fantastic. But clearly they are a world-class side. And sometimes you just have to accept that world-class players pressing and working in that manner, you expect your Burnleys and what have you to work really hard. But when you've got a world-class player working that hard and working in the right way, it's all right pressing and making the motion, but doing it to the right side of the defender, which forces him inside, or it's all planned out. It's not random. It's all done for effect to stop the ball getting to the fullback or to stop the ball getting to the number 6. So you have to give them that, I suppose. The free kicks were a particular concern, weren't they? The ball round the back and the sort of blind runner. And we had this with West Ham, I think, when we played them again.
Yeah, we did.
That high line has worked so well for us all season. We've caught loads of people out. I think we've got more people offside than any other team in the league. But they were clever to it, weren't they? And sometimes you watch it and the commentators have always annoy me a little bit because they're like, oh, it's this high line. Just drop 5 yards deeper. Well, it's not the way we play, is it? And it's, again, like I've just said, and I'll reiterate it again, it's worked for us all season, that high line. So why would you change mid-game? But it was a source of anxiety for us in the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, first of all, as per normal, I didn't have the benefit of Mr. Tyler's commentary because, yet again, I watched it on mute because I always do when Tyler's commentating. So I didn't get the benefit of his wisdom on that, but it was catching us out. I think you've already hit the nail on the head, Gav. We were playing Manchester City, who whether we like it or not, are probably one of the top 3 sides in the world. I actually think we're probably one of the top 3 sides in the world as well. So
I think it does Bayern Munich and City, I think.
I'd agree. I'd absolutely agree with that. And you've got to expect that you're not going to have your own way with a side that has been assembled at that expense, that quite honestly is pretty well coached by Pep Guardiola. But let's be honest about it. So you've got to expect that at times maybe you're going to be a bit under the cosh. And certainly in the first half yesterday, we were a bit under the cosh. But there's positives we can take out of that game. We went behind twice in the game and came back from it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because it shows the resilience. Look, what my summation of yesterday's game, and we'll talk about individual bits later on, is that what we found was a Manchester City side that were playing right at the top of their game yesterday, pretty well, and a Liverpool side that was probably just a little bit off the top of our game. And consequently, you would say that, even I would admit they probably shaded the game overall. So therefore, we came away with a 2-2 draw, not too much damage done. So I'm actually quite a happy chappy this morning.
Yeah,
because of that.
It was interesting. I don't know whether you heard me and Paul do post-match, but Paul made a point that basically Liverpool have gone through the last 10 or so games without really getting out of first gear very often. And let's be honest, there's been a pattern of Liverpool starting very slowly in a lot of the games, and pretty much that's what you saw in that first half was exactly the same thing that you'd seen game after game after game. The difference is you're not playing Man City and they're going to punish you. Yeah. Just moving on to the second half, Steve. I mean, what do you imagine that second half team talk was like? I tried to talk to Paul about it yesterday. What do you think? Because Jurgen Klopp, I don't know whether you noticed, but he was out way earlier than the.
Oh yeah,
yeah, you saw that. And I likened it to I've read a couple of Alex Ferguson's autobiographies, and he was very big on not overcomplicating the message and saying very short messages for effect. There's a story of him going into the dressing room before a game against Tottenham and just basically going, right, lads, it's Tottenham, and then walking out. Because that, and Roy Keane tells the story, we know what that means. Tottenham, you'll basically stay with them for 70 minutes and then you'll overcome them physically. We all knew what that meant, he said. So I wonder whether, when I saw Jurgen come out, I thought, I wonder has he gone in and just gone, sorted out, and then walked out. Do you know what I mean? Do you imagine that was the type of thing that...
You almost, yeah. Yet again, I text Nicola at halftime, and all I said in the text was, look on the bright side. I don't think we can play that badly in the second half. And you almost imagine Jurgen said, "You're not going to play that badly in the second half," and maybe walking out because, or something along the lines of, "Lads, you're an awful lot better than that.
Yeah,
you really are an awful lot better than that." So I don't know what he said at half time, but certainly we were much better side in the second half. I mean, it was Golden getting the equalising goal within a minute of the restart, wasn't it? Which was a fabulous goal.
Yeah.
A fabulous goal. I mean, again, if you break that one down, what happened there is I think Virgil put one of his legendary diagonal balls across, which was actually intercepted. It was intercepted, but Trent won it back. He won the back. A little pass inside to Mo there, and an absolutely sublime ball through to. I mean, it really was sublime. Now we've talked a lot about the fact that they were getting behind and cutting through our defence. That we did exactly the same to them.
Yeah, we did. And I think that's a really good point. Because we feel it more when they do it to us. We were doing it to them as well.
Yeah.
I want to pick you up on something you said there. Mo's form's been a bit patchy, and we allow him that because he's been fantastic. One of the big positives that I thought about the game was in that second half, I thought Mo's performance looked more like Mo. He was a constant threat. Cancelo's a good player. I saw that yesterday. He's a very good player, but Mo, he was having a good battle with Mo, wasn't he?
He was, and I fully agree with you. I thought Salah was excellent in the second half, in particular, and I think many of the people who look, I've read an awful lot in the press and online in the last month or so. He hasn't scored a goal from open play since February, January, or whenever it is. If you have a look at Mo's stats, not only is he the top scorer in the Premier League, I think he's the top assister.
Right, yeah.
In the Premier, or certainly if he's the top goal scorer who makes assists as well. Yeah. And yet again, there was one yesterday. So those saying that Mo's not scoring, they need to look at his second half performance there and just to understand his value to our side. I think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I thought he was really good. I'd almost say he was our man of the match because I don't think we had a standout player yesterday.
Well, on my agenda, you'll notice that it doesn't say man of the match because I think that choice was quite too difficult. But that first 10 minutes of that second half were excellent. We control the ball much better, don't we? And we look like Liverpool that we know and love, basically. But it really only lasted 10 minutes, I thought.
It did. But yet again, you're playing against the City. I think that us scoring within, was it 48 seconds of the restart, it probably knocked the stuffing out of City for a period of time. Mm-hmm. But they are a very good side who will recover from that. Yeah. So, yet we dominated for 10 to 15 minutes after that. 15's maybe pushing it a bit, actually. Yeah. But, I think that, they were shocked by it, but they recovered from it. Yeah. And, I guess that I was worried that if there was going to be a winning goal, it was more likely to come from them rather than us, if I'm absolutely honest.
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple of chances. The one that Mo... that went out for a corner, actually, and we didn't get the corner. And there was a shout for handball, I think, although I don't think it was. I don't think it was either. I think there was that one, and there was one other that we had a good chance where... Oh, the Jota one. Where it was another... Was it a ball from Salah or Trent? I can't remember. I think it was a ball from Trent round the back, and Jota instinctively just flicked his foot out and Ederson saved it. Just looking at the match stats, Steve, one of the ones that was quite interesting for me, I mean, that they had 11 shots, we had 6 shots on target, and 5 and 4, big chances 2 and 3, so it's pretty even. The big thing that I saw was crosses. Man City had 18 crosses and we only put 5 in.
I didn't think you were going to bring that one up. I thought you were going to bring up this thing that I don't understand, expected goals. Well, which was interesting. But yeah, I think it was indicative of the game that let's be perfectly honest. For large portions of the game, that they dominated us.
Yeah,
they did dominate us, so they're going to put more crosses in.
Well, I think they had quite a few free kicks where they could put crosses
They did.
in, so that would have added to that stat. The XG thing, I looked at the XG, and I don't know what XG figure you got, but I got City at 1.35 and Liverpool at 1.3.
I got it the other way around.
Both outperformed their XG. What?
I got it the other way around, funnily enough.
Did you?
Yeah, so but it was very even.
Yeah, they've outperformed their XG, so that shows you that the chances weren't that great in the game. Just, I mean, that aside, and I was going to ask you about standout players, but we've kind of already done that. Where does this leave us, Steve, for you in the context of the season? You know, there's 7 games left for each team. We're 1 point behind with a superior goal difference. Does it? You know, has there anything changed after the game? Have we learned anything else? I suppose the one thing we know is that City win all their games, they win the league. But, looking at their running and our running has got some bigger teams in it. I think their sticky game is Wolves away, but we've got to play United and Everton at home. And Tottenham away. Is it Tottenham away we've got to play?
Or Tottenham's at home.
Oh, Tottenham's at home. So
yeah,
we've got 3 sticky games, but they're all at home, which, makes a big difference to us. Where do you think this leaves us?
Like you say, it leaves us 1 point behind, and I think it leaves us in a decent position.
It's where you would have hoped to have been.
Yeah, particularly after how the game went yesterday. We came out of it with a point, so we came out even Stevens, exactly as we were before the game, just 1 point behind with a superior goal difference. We've got some difficult games coming up because our next 2 league games are Manchester United and Everton at home within 4 days of one another.
Right.
Both of those clubs will be looking to derail our season. So they're not going to be easy games. You would expect us to win them. I mean, particularly looking at the Man United performance against Everton on Saturday morning, which was abysmal. You would expect us to beat them. You would expect us to beat Everton, maybe, but they're not nailed-on games. We've got to we've got to focus on them and get through those games. City have also got West Ham away, I think. Which is not an easy game to go there. The other thing that is good to point out is that on a previous podcast, Gav, I actually said if we're going to win the league, we have to win at the Etihad. I said that when I think we were 11 or 14 points adrift.
Yeah.
And you would say that needed to... I would change my opinion now, because we went into the game at the Etihad 1 point behind. So, no, we didn't have to win that. It's not absolutely essential that we won yesterday to actually take the title. I think the other interesting thing that I would point out is that if you look at current form, in the last 6 games, City have actually dropped points in 3 of the last 6 games they've played. We've dropped points in 1 game, which was yesterday's game. Yeah. So hey, it's not as if they're just, sort of coasting, winning every game. No, they've dropped points in 50% of their last 6 games. Mm-hmm. So to say it's all over now and both sides are going to win all of their games, I think is a little bit ludicrous. But we may well drop points on the way. We've got some tough games coming up. You've mentioned Spurs, who seem to be on a little bit of a resurgence at the moment, so that's not going to be an easy game. Everton and Manchester United are probably our 2 greatest rivals, traditionally, so they'd be keen to derail our season. We've got Wolves last game of the season. At home, and interestingly enough, City have got Aston Villa and our old friend Stevie G at home last game of the season. Now, wouldn't that be wonderful?
It would be, but looking at Villa at the moment are so hit and miss. Like
I can't see it, but yet again, I watched the Villa Tottenham game on Saturday evening,
They were unlucky.
I can't see how Villa didn't go into the break 3 goals ahead.
I know, yeah.
I really can't see.
Which is why I said the hit and miss.
It's very hit
when
and
they
miss.
Put it together, they can do it. But yeah, I mean, it's tough as to go to City.
But a nice little hit at the last game of the season would be a good one for us. But overall summation. Given that first half performance yesterday, let's be happy with the point that we got.
Yeah.
And we're 1 point behind, and there's 7 games to play. That's 21 points to play for. So yeah, let's enjoy this. Let's enjoy it. I can't say I enjoyed the game too much yesterday. It was just so tense.
Yeah. No, brilliant, Steve. Well, listen, thanks very much for your time.
You're welcome,
Good
Gav.
to chat to you as ever. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the bell for notifications, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Steve, thanks for your time. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.